When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
At Vertex, we know the pace of global commerce is increasing, which makes managing tax more complex. And your enterprise systems weren't built to handle that tax complexity. This is where we come in with our platform that enables continuous compliance, giving you more transparency, improved accuracy, and better confidence in your tax data. To learn more about continuous compliance, visit vertexinc.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Anfield Index podcast. My name's Trev Downey. I'm here in beautiful rural Ireland and I'm podcasting to you as usual from my candlelit studio this evening. I say studio, it's my study and it's got my books and it's got my comfortable chair. And this evening, because I've had a really shitty couple of weeks, it's also got some rum and coke to accompany this particular little broadcast, which is episode number something or other, which Lisa Marie will no doubt know and tell us later on. And Lisa Marie is one of my two colleagues tonight, Lisa Marie Hanahan and Brainch. We have the gang back together. And by the way, next week, apparently, a fourth will be joining us, an old guard member of the Anfield Index crew from way back in the day, who's thinking of throwing his hat back into the ring a little bit. So that's exciting to have a new face and a new voice, but it's actually an old face and an old voice coming back to us. Let's introduce and get to know and greet again my two colleagues for tonight. Lisa Marie, how are you?
Well, Trev, it's been a week. It's actually been a good couple weeks, but it's Friday, and I'm very happy about that. And it's finally decided to be autumn here in lovely Middle Tennessee. And of course, I'm happy to join both you and Cam on episode 395 of the Anfield.
Tremendous. Yes, without speaking out of school, and Cam will know this as well, we've, between us, had quite the fortnight of familial strains, and it is nice to be able to just sit down and spend an hour talking about the football or whatever the hell else occurs to us. So good to have you back on the show again, as always. And Cam, what about yourself? What was your week like, or fortnight actually, since we've spoken last?
Just the usual, work, come home. As I just mentioned, we've got a wedding on this weekend, so it's going to be full on. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm probably going to miss the Arsenal game, which is annoying to say the least. But I will have my phone on me and I'll try and watch it on the phone sneakily. So, no, it's all been good in Brainchy land. No complaints here. Which is quite nice in a way.
Yeah, we will take that. Yeah. I had a similar situation last week because I was kind of coming out of the awful to an extent, and I was getting my missus back home, but it was just coinciding with the Chelsea game, and you know, it's amazing perspective, right? So I think if I had been at a wedding or some family gathering or something that I had to go to that was, you know, pre-arranged, I'd have been just kind of climbing the walls trying to find out what was going on. As it was, I cut myself some slack because I'd normally be, I don't, maybe you guys are completely different, but I'm still in my own small brain little way crippled by superstition. I feel like I've cut them all off, but if I miss a game, I'm convinced it's on me if we don't win.
Yeah.
During the season where we almost won the another double. The only game that we lost was against Manchester City, and it was during a pre-arranged holiday myself and my missus were having in London. And not only did I get blamed by myself in my own head, but by literally every listener of Anfield Index who rang in to say, "See, you're not on Raw, we lose. Now the league is gone. Fuck you, Downey," basically. So that was difficult to take. I think
I'm January 2019.
Yes, it was, mate. Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
See, that predates me listening to Anfield Index on the regular, I guess I should say.
Yeah. Shall I tell you why I know that day particularly well?
Go on, you got
I flew to India on New Year's Eve and landed on New Year's Day. So I was watching the clock, and it suddenly went from 11:59 to 2:59. We suddenly crossed like 3 hours of time zones or something. So completely missed it. Landed on the first. I think the game was on the 2nd or the 3rd of Jan, something like that. And I was watching it at like 1:30 in the morning. And I was convinced we lost that game because I didn't have anything red or Liverpool related on. And I thought, I can't tell anybody this because I'll have the whole Liverpool fan base on me. So we lost the league that year because you didn't fucking wear the
look. That's absolutely brilliant. I thank you for sharing that. It makes me feel slightly less mentally ill. I do appreciate that. But it is a remarkable thing. You can get to our age. What are we now in our mid-30s? And to be still so paralyzed by these kind of nonsense.
We're fixated on it, aren't we?
Oh man. I've been thinking about it a lot because I'll just bounce this one off you real quick. I've been thinking about it a lot because obviously one of my big interests, and it's probably not very good for me, but one of my big interests is the world and geopolitics, and I'm hugely interested in history and I'm interested in culture, and of course all those things kind of cross over, and you tend to get a kind of a jaundiced view of how the world is put together and who's running the show and who, the various decisions that get made, and it does give you a certain perspective, maybe if you delve into it deep enough, that can be a bit dark. And so maybe I'm always a little bit suspicious when any given situation comes up. I think my instant reaction is to be guarded, to be wondering what the angle is. And then I heard this show, lads. I heard this show where this guy came on, and he was a very credible dude, and he was talking about fixing in American sports and how rampant it was. And then he had a whole separate discussion about European sports, and it extended to football. And I remember thinking, and I've been thinking about it all day today because I listened to this yesterday. I've been thinking about it all day today. What would happen if there was some great revelation that the Premier League is in some way semi-rigged? And so this is the question that was haunting me all day. And then I found myself really going to the depths, trying to say, well, I can see the effort that our Reds put in, and I know how earnest the lad Jurgen Klopp is, and I know that none of our lads wouldn't cheat and all this. It's amazing. I found myself having to argue the case for how justifiable the Premier League is as a real thing, and there could not possibly be any level of corruption. But God Almighty, imagine if they took our football away. That's where I was with it, Lisa Marie. Can you imagine if that was ever to be the case? We're so used to kind of the veil being pulled back lately and us seeing horrible things that we rather not understand about the world. Imagine if you were told, oh, football's just like pro wrestling. Oh my God.
Yeah, that would be, oh my goodness, that would be very difficult to take. I agree. So I'm just going to continue to live in my simple little world where that's not going to happen. And I like it here. They know me. And it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be, I mean, Trev, I think you and I were talking, and I can't remember if it was on podcast or just before or after or whatever. But I mean, during the summer, again, because the time difference and everything, the matches are typically on in the morning time here. And so it's just become this ritual for us to have not just the Liverpool games on, but one of the other league games just on in general as, we're playing around the house and doing chores and having breakfast or, whatever on the weekend. And so, during June, July, August or beginning of August, it's like, we don't know what to put on in the morning on the weekend. Like, what do we watch? So yeah, it's just, actually we caught a few of some of the women's games during that time every now and again, because their league is just slightly offset from the men. So we did catch either the Liverpool or some of the other women's teams in that time. So that was fun. But I get it. I don't, but if the league was completely taken away versus just, those 2.5, 3 months, it would be quite the adjustment. And again, this is me coming into this really only the last decade. So I can't imagine, or, like y'all who, followed it all your lives.
Idiots like me and Cam who are 5 decades in.
I don't believe that's how I just put it.
No, believe me, that's just how I put it. I want to get the
praising Downey, not mine.
It's fair. I want to get the ball rolling this evening by getting a take from you, because I saw a little quote there. It was a little video clip from an ex-Red, and Cam will be very familiar with him, called El Hadji Diouf.
Oh God, shoot!
Who came to Liverpool in the Houllier era alongside his compatriots as kind of much vaunted signings on the back of a good World Cup. I think the lads had, to be fair, for Senegal. And the first thing I remember about El Hadji Diouf was he was spitting at Celtic fans, and it went downhill from there. So he was saying something about, Salah, and how Salah is not, the greatest African player or whatever, and he's miles off the likes of Didier Drogba and who else did he say? I think it was Samuel Eto'o. In terms of goal scoring, which is actually just objectively wrong. But I heard Dave then talking about it. I just literally threw on his show just before, and he was as sort of taken aback as I was by this. And it just made me think, football's full of these awful lads, and it's unfortunate to find one there that has a Liverpool link. He's also very bitter and gets a dig in at Stevie Gerrard anytime he can manage it as well, I've noticed. El Hadji Diouf. So, Cam, I want to start the ball rolling this evening with if you think of the worst lads, just some of the very worst lads in football, who springs to mind? The guys that you just can't cope with at all.
Ronaldo.
Great shout. It's a great shout. Do you have the misfortune of being exposed to his constant media output, like his?
No.
It's remarkable, Cam. It's so self-serving. He talks about we won another match, or we've done well again, and it's all pictures of him posing in various ways after scoring a penalty. He is genuinely a dreadful set of lads. Anyone else to add to the list?
Let me have a think. Lisa Marie, you shout one out.
Oh, Lisa Marie is taking this train immediately.
Yeah. She's got about 500 players you could just reel off. Yeah.
No. I'm assuming, Trev, you're thinking Anthony Gordon, because he's one of my favorites.
I was thinking Harry Kane.
Oh, Harry Kane again. Harry Kane does not bother me as much now that now that he's over in the Bundesliga and we don't have to hear about him all the time, and and he hasn't done as much for the the England team lately either. I mean, I know he's still playing, but he hasn't been quite as much of a center of it, if you will, or wasn't so much during the Euros. So he doesn't really, and I never per se disliked Harry Kane or thought he was a bad guy. It's just I got so tired of hearing about him, or all but seeing him knighted on the field at Wembley every time he stepped on it. So that was more my beef with Harry Kane. I think was more just a media, worship.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
But it's
I don't think Bernardo Silva is an especially nice person.
oh, Bernardo Silva is a tremendous shout. He would be high on the list of fellas that I'd love to get a sneaky slap at, but I'd feel bad because he's only a little chap. So it would feel it'd feel like a bit bullying. So I always prefer to have, when I'm threatening violence, to do it against lads who are much bigger than me. Yeah, but for Bernardo Silva,
You know what? I'm certain I would be shorter than him, so I'll take one for you.
you take it on. And I see you went immediately to Anthony Gordon, and I think you could have had an absolute existential crisis if Liverpool had signed that lad.
Oh, you were right there with me when I kept complaining about it. Yeah, although he doesn't seem as, use the word obnoxious, since he went to Newcastle as he was at Everton. So I don't know if maybe the culture has been, just over.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes, and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
Club culture has maybe been a little bit better for him than that cesspool.
It's probably it's probably the revelation that he would really like to join Liverpool and was a Liverpool fan and all that kind of stuff is probably also sort of slightly tempered a bit. When you're in that blue nose camp, it's going to be hard to lift your head, and if you've got any negative tendencies, they're going to come out far worse. I mean, picture, if you will, the atrocious set of lads that is Jordan Pickford. This is just what happens, right? I do remember on Raw we had the Pickford scale at one point.
Oh, that was awesome. I missed that.
Yeah, where
that was a bit of fun there for a while. But
Yeah.
no, I think too the thing that annoys me the most about Anthony Gordon, and again, not that I watch Newcastle all the time, but there was so much diving when he was with Everton, and again, I don't know if it's been coached out of him or what, but the last season or so that doesn't seem to be as prevalent as it was. So he's not ranking up there in my favorite non-Liverpool players or anything, but maybe maturity and, again, as I said, exposure to a different club with seems to be a little bit better culture around it has possibly helped.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fucking low bar, Lisa Marie. You know what I mean? And if you're talking about Newcastle as a paragon of virtue, we're in trouble anyway.
Again, Downey.
Cam, you've had time to mull it over.
I have.
Misinterpret everything I say.
That is the purpose of my job as host. Come on, that's what we do. You've had time to mull it over, Cam. I have a feeling you're going to go to John Brooks or some ref.
I mean, John Brooks would be a good shout. I mean, what's his face? The fellow who's in charge of the PGMOL MLL.
Oh, Big Howard, yeah.
Howard Webb, yeah. I mean, he would probably be one, but two ex-United players, one being Gary Neville, and the other being Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Oh, okay, right. What's your gripe with Zlatan? Is it just the kind of egotism?
The ego, yeah. Just again, it's similar to Ronaldo. It's all about me.
Yeah.
That just doesn't. I can't. Doesn't sit well with me. Gary Neville, because it was just funny seeing Robbie Fowler always destroying with the shoulder barges and whatnot and everything else that went. I could say the same about Rio as well when they tried to him and Vidic tried to get him and Evra tried to get Suarez and they ended up smashing each other up, didn't they? So anything anyone United really. I mean, I was trying to think. I mean, Arsenal. I was trying to think of anybody there, but then with Arsenal, there's more admiration for the Wenger years, and then before that, it was never really a thought, was it? Before Wenger came in, about Arsenal. Chelsea, I was trying to think of Chelsea players, and I thought, well, they might have just been generally bad eggs, but they weren't players that got under your skin in any way. So,
yeah. To be fair as well, and you lived through this with me. There was the George Graham era. The 1-0 to the Arsenal, where they did win titles and they took one off us.
Yeah.
In the most dramatic of last-minute fashion. So
yeah, Mickey Thomas.
But you're right. I never really had any massive beef with anyone from Arsenal or disliked them. They were kind of, I don't know what it was.
They were just a tough football team, but they didn't. But they weren't arseholes about it.
No, and I mean, I remember actually, like, when it used to be fashionable for the British press to sneer at Tony Adams. I remember thinking that guy's really good footballer, and as he went on to prove in the Wenger era as well. But yeah, it's interesting. It is funny, that in this day and age, it is actually usually now the referees. And I was talking on Raw about how, the Swiss lad during the week seemed to have this, what the kids call main character syndrome. And a lot of them seem to, that it's about them. And we've got Mancini to look forward to at the weekends. That'll be fun. But, it doesn't really matter who you pick. I mean, there was a time when Michael Oliver was being touted as the best new referee since, what's his name, the Italian baldy chap.
I mean, talking of Michael Oliver, and you mentioned obviously match fixing earlier. And then we think of Man City, and you think of Michael Oliver. You think of Man City, then you think of Abu Dhabi, then you think of Michael Oliver, Abu Dhabi, Man City. There's no match fixing.
That was some really good neuro-linguistic programming by Brainch there. Just listen back to it a few times on a loop, and you may get the message that Cam was trying to put across there very delicately without getting the lawyers involved. So thanks for that, Cam. You've saved me some paperwork later. That is tremendous. There are a couple of football stories I do want to focus on. The focusing on the terrible sets of lads was just to get us going in the wake of, I like I say, it's been a dark fucking 48 hours for me thinking about football being rigged. I'll tell you, I couldn't get it out of my head. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about the Champions League in general, and I wanted to talk to you about Trent and the Real thing that won't go away. And I wanted to talk to you about Arne Slot's selection approach and use of subs and stuff like that. So let's take what is probably the most controversial of those stories, which is the Trent and the constant Real Madrid links that won't go away. And I think everybody's done a section lately on this on their shows, and I'm just interested to hear what we'll do with it here, because I spoke to Jan about it a lot yesterday evening, and Jan said he'd had a chance to interview Trent, and we were rolling along in our conversation, and Jan was saying, talking about training, how enthusiastic he was about it, and he went in a few different directions with it. And I said, I'm just going to wait and see if he brings it up. He didn't, so I let it go. I asked him something else. We went to another topic, and then I came back to it. And I said, was there any talk about the contract, or were you not allowed to talk about the contract? And guess what? They had been briefed. Jan and any other journalist who was doing any work, don't ask about the contract situation. I don't know what to make of this. I don't know. One day I wake up and I think, oh, he's definitely staying. And the next day I wake up and think, how could anyone possibly resist the opportunity to go and play with Mbappe, as I said to Jan last night, basically a fucking PlayStation team. So, Cam, to start with you, what's your gut feeling on this one? Because I think we all have, it seems to be that Virgil would love to stay if the offer is right. I think Mo would stay if the offer was right. What do you think about this Trent situation? Because I think the offer may be almost irrelevant.
Oh, yeah. I've, it's such a difficult one, isn't it? Because there was the sort of gut feeling is he's going to sign a contract. I think he really wants the captaincy.
Do you?
Yeah, I think that's a big motivating factor for him. But it's not just Mbappe, it's Vinicius, it's Jude, his best mate, it's Rodrigo. Is it Rodrigo there?
Mm-hmm.
You've got he would just him playing in that team that will destroy the Spanish league pretty much. I mean, I know Barca had a good result midweek and they could be on the rise. Can you base it on one result? I don't know. I know it's El Clasico. I think it's this weekend, isn't it? El Clasico. So, but to play for that team in that stadium in that wonderful country, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for him.
And he's going to have to. I apparently, I could be wrong here, but apparently, the what's I think probably driving a lot of this at the minute, I think, is Danny Carvajal, who's basically won more medals than anyone in the world, is a bit crocked at the moment, and so people are just going to go, well, I mean, this is an easy move at January, and Real could throw the kitchen sink at it, but it's not just about the Carvajal thing. Trent will be looking at it and thinking, I could be playing with Modric and Camavinga and Valverde all ahead of me.
Tchouaméni,
I've got Tchouaméni, I've got Thibaut Courtois behind me.
Yeah.
Now, he probably doesn't have the same standard of defender alongside him, to be fair. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
But Real will fix that, and they do have some tremendous defenders, and they're absolutely linked with some more tremendous defenders. So it's just here's my question for you. All notions of loyalty aside, how do you say no to that?
How do you what? Sorry.
How do you say no to that?
Well, this is it. How do you see you're playing at your boyhood club? You've won every single trophy there is to win. What else is there to achieve at your boyhood club? You won the Club World Championship, you won the Premier League, you won the European Cup, you won the FA Cup, you won the League Cup, you won the Charity Shield, you won the Audi Cup in 1846. There's nothing left for him in that regards in terms of trophies to achieve at Liverpool. The only thing that he's got left to achieve at Liverpool is to be the Liverpool captain. Is that enough of a driving factor for him? Is it enough of a driving factor for him to say, I was a local lad, I captained Liverpool, and we won the league? That's the carrot you've got to dangle for him to sign. If you can't dangle that carrot for him, he's off to Real Madrid.
What about the idea of doing it all again? Let's win the league again. That's 2 leagues. Let's win the Champions League again. That's 2 Champions Leagues. I mean, I always think that's massively underrated as a motivational thing. The idea that he's won it all, sure, but footballers alike, there's really extreme examples like Roy Keane who are miserable already the minute the trophy has been won, waiting on the next one. But, what about that as a driving force to win all these trophies for Liverpool, to become a kind of a record trophy holder for the club, or whatever happens to be?
Realistically, is that going to happen?
Well, dude,
realistically, let's be honest. I mean, you're up against 115. who...
Yeah, but not for long. Everyone tells me they're going to be relegated to Division 17.
But then if they're going to be relegated, then we can just say Trent's going to sign a contract. It's the same. It's just a flip of a coin, isn't it? Which way does it land?
True.
We don't know. I mean, what we failed to forget in that regard is the power and the influence that Abu Dhabi have now over the Premier League, and I think it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think they will be relegated.
There's no chance, man. I was being facetious.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think they'll even have any titles stripped away or any trophies stripped away.
No,
so
they'll have a fight.
The question. So again, going back to Trent, because that's what we're talking about here. My fear is, and it's a genuine fear, because we've now seen a different Trent this season, whereas before he was a lazy defender under Klopp. And it was partly system, partly coaching, partly the advanced position he played. Whereas this season, we're now seeing Trent still with his expansive, wonderful, creative game, but in a more controlled defensive system, which is allowing him to show better defensive qualities through coaching and through that system change. And we're suddenly seeing this generational talent that we all thought we had really now step up another level and really beginning to look. He really truly is that world-class right back that every kid now dreams of becoming, because before, who would ever dream of being a right back?
Yeah, so I think that's it's a good point.
And then to go up at even another level, it would be at Real Madrid. Whether we like that or not, they are a level ahead of everybody because of just how they've managed to always be that club. Well, however they've done it, and that's so attractive.
You can't underestimate the fact that the guy's, is it 25 going 26?
Yeah.
And he is of a generation who grew up with PlayStations. He's of a generation who is, very much part of the Real Madrid as the absolute dominant club in the world. Even though he lived through the Barca era.
Yeah.
All the most recent times you see nothing but Real dominance in the Champions League. And of course, you see little things like, those really fun things that they do where they go to the club and on the day when the new FIFA is out, the new FIFA game is out, and then they see the rankings and they're given a little presentation box with their rankings, and we see them all react. I don't think, this is going to sound stupid, but I don't think you can underestimate how much of a psychological impact things like that have. So the idea of going to Real Madrid is that sort of super, super carrot that's dangling there. And I just, listen, Marie, let me bring you in on this, because to be fair to Trent, it's his brother who's done a bit of damage in terms of his reputation by saying kind of needlessly provocative things. Trent himself has done nothing but be positive in his comments about the new training regime, the manager, how much he's enjoying it. He was telling Jan at length about how, he was genuinely getting a great kick out of the training. As I listened to Jan recount what he was saying, it didn't sound like a lad who was on his bike. Do you know what I mean?
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of one cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.